President Rebecca Holt stood at the head of the long, circular table, feeling the weight of every pair of alien eyes upon her. The Galactic Council, a body comprised of the most powerful species in the galaxy, had summoned her to this meeting. They were not here for diplomacy. They were here for one reason: to make sure Earth knew its place. A member of the Council, a towering insectoid known as Vlath from the star system Kthra, spoke first. His voice was a low, rumbling growl that sent shivers down Holt's spine. Humanity's rapid technological growth has become a threat to the peace we have so carefully maintained across the galaxy. It is no longer a matter of your defense. Your weapons, your experiments, your machines, all of it poses a risk. The Council will not allow another species to upset the balance of power. Holt's heart pounded in her chest, but she did not falter. Her people had fought too long and too hard to be held back by the dictates of distant, self-important alien bureaucrats. She stood tall, meeting Vlath's unblinking compound eyes with a gaze of defiance. "With all due respect, Vlath," she began, her voice steady, "the progress of humanity is not a threat to anyone unless they seek to oppress us. Earth has risen from the ashes of war and famine. We are not your pawns. We have every right to defend our world and explore the stars." The room fell silent. A tense murmur rippled through the Council as Holt's words reverberated. Across from her, the bright blue eyes of Saldar, the High Commander of the Tauran race, narrowed in cold calculation. He was notorious for his ruthlessness. His people had once tried to subjugate Earth during the early days of space exploration, but humanity had fought back with unexpected tenacity. "You misunderstand, President Holt." Zaldar's voice sliced through the quiet, smooth, and dangerously calm. "We are not here to oppress you. We are here to prevent you from becoming a force that could destabilize the entire galaxy. Your weapons of mass destruction, your accelerated AI programs, these things are beyond your control. And should you refuse to comply with the Council's directives, we will take action." The threat hung in the air like a poison. Holt clenched her fists beneath the table. She knew what the Council wanted: total submission. They wanted to dictate the pace of human development, to strip away Earth's autonomy, and ensure that humanity would remain small and weak in the grand scheme of galactic politics. "I've heard your ultimatum," she said, her voice unwavering. "But let me be clear, Earth will not comply. We are not going to halt our progress. We will defend ourselves from anyone who attempts to harm us. If you come to us with force, you will regret it." The words were out before she could stop them. They were bold, perhaps foolish, but Holt didn't care. Humanity had fought too hard for freedom, for independence, and for self-determination. She would not let an alien council decide their fate. The Council's leaders exchanged glances. The insectoid Vlath's mandibles clicked in irritation. Zaldar's icy gaze lingered on Holt for a moment longer than necessary. Then, slowly, the chair at the head of the table shifted forward. "This is not the end of this discussion, President Holt," Zaldar said, his voice taking on a chilling edge. "You've made your decision. But understand this: the galaxy will not stand by while you act recklessly. The Council will do whatever it takes to prevent humanity from becoming a threat." Without another word, the meeting was dismissed. Holt remained seated for a long moment, her mind racing. She knew the stakes. This was more than just a diplomatic negotiation. It was the beginning of something much larger, a test of humanity's strength and resolve. The future of Earth depended on the choices they made in the coming days. The Galactic Council had just declared war on humanity, but Holt wasn't scared. They had underestimated Earth before, and now humanity would show them exactly what it meant to defy the galaxy. As President Rebecca Holt returned to Earth's command center, the weight of the Council's ultimatum lingered in her mind like a storm cloud. The Council had made its intentions clear. Earth had become a threat, and if humanity refused to bow to their will, they would be crushed. The question now was how humanity would respond to such an aggressive challenge. In the quiet of her office, Holt watched the stars flicker in the vastness of space. The decision had been made. There was no turning back. Earth was not going to submit. Holt picked up her comm device and dialed in the coordinates for the secret meeting. She couldn't rely on traditional channels for this. The response to the Council's warning would have to come from the shadows. The transmission opened to a darkened room, the holographic faces of the planet's top scientists, military strategists, and engineers appearing in front of her. These were the minds behind Project Titan, a covert initiative that had been secretly developed for decades. It was a defense mechanism designed for the worst-case scenario, when Earth was forced to stand alone against the galaxy's greatest powers. President Holt, the lead engineer, Dr. Xavier Albright, spoke first. He was a sharp-eyed man in his late 50s, known for his genius in AI and robotics. We've anticipated this. Titan is ready to begin its final phase. But it's going to take everything. We have to get it operational in time. We'll need full cooperation across every sector: military, research, and manufacturing. Holt nodded. We don't have the luxury of time. The Council is coming for us, and they'll come with everything they've got. We need Titan fully operational within the next 6 months, or this planet won't survive. Titan wasn't just a weapon. It was humanity's last stand, a symbol of their refusal to be subjugated. The machine was more than a simple war machine. It was an extension of human ingenuity and willpower. It was designed to be adaptable, capable of evolving in battle, learning from every encounter. No alien force had ever faced anything like it. The team's resolve was unwavering. Dr. Albright, with his calm demeanor, continued, "We're working around the clock, but the challenge is the scale. Titan's power is immense. We need to ensure we can control it, that it can't be turned against us." "We won't let it happen," Holt replied firmly. "Titan is our greatest weapon and our greatest hope. The Council will never see it coming." The next few days passed in a blur of intense preparation. The world's best minds worked together in secrecy, sharing information and coordinating efforts across continents. Earth's military and engineering might was focused entirely on completing Titan. Governments shifted resources to fund the project, and even civilians volunteered, knowing their survival depended on success. Across the globe, the project's engineers and military strategists worked in unison to perfect the war machine. Titan was a towering figure, over 30 meters tall, built from advanced alloys, and armed with an arsenal of devastating weaponry. It was designed to fight on land, in space, and in the most hostile environments known. But it was the brain that controlled Titan, that would make the difference. Humanity's finest minds fed it with knowledge from every corner of human science, from quantum physics to ancient warfare strategies. Titan would learn, adapt, and evolve in real time, far beyond anything the Council could predict. But even as Titan's development progressed, Holt knew it would take more than just a single war machine to stand against the might of the Council. Earth needed to unite, and the task of galvanizing humanity's resolve fell to her. She addressed the world through a global broadcast, her words reaching billions. "We are at a crossroads," she began, her voice strong, yet filled with an unwavering determination. "The Galactic Council believes that humanity is a threat, that we have no place in this galaxy. But they are wrong. We have earned our place in the stars. We will not bow to anyone. We will stand tall. This is our moment to show the galaxy what humanity is made of. Together, we will rise." The broadcast ended with the image of Titan's silhouette looming against the stars. It was humanity's message to the galaxy. Earth was no longer a planet to be ignored. The time had come for humanity to forge its destiny. The Council's warning had been heard. And now, Earth would respond with force, ingenuity, and an unbreakable will. The battle for humanity's future had begun. The Nevada desert was a perfect location for the trial. It was remote, isolated, and offered no distractions, just vast, empty land to test the power of the new weapon. In the midst of the barren landscape stood Titan, its colossal form gleaming under the harsh sunlight, casting a long shadow on the ground. The machine was far more imposing than any of the engineers had expected. At over 30 meters tall, it was a mechanical behemoth, designed not only to defend but to strike fear into anyone who dared challenge humanity. President Rebecca Holt stood off to the side, her eyes trained on the war machine. Around her, the world's top engineers and military officers waited in hushed anticipation. The air was thick with tension. This trial was the moment of truth. Titan was humanity's greatest hope, and the future of the planet depended on it. "Are we ready?" Holt asked, her voice steady but filled with a quiet urgency. "Almost," replied Dr. Xavier Albright, his voice strained with focused determination. "The systems are functional, but Titan's AI is still learning to adjust to its environment. This trial will be the first real test of its adaptability in the field." Holt nodded. The machine's eye wasn't just a simple program. It was designed to evolve, to learn in real time, making decisions faster than any human pilot could. Titan's ability to analyze, adapt, and counteract was its greatest strength. But the trial had to prove that the AI could handle the pressure of combat situations, ones that were unpredictable and ever-changing. "Commence the test," she ordered. A signal was sent, and Titan's massive frame shuddered as its systems powered up. Its armored joints clicked into place, and it took its first few steps forward, its immense legs moving with surprising fluidity. A low hum filled the air as the machine came to life, its glowing eyes scanning the horizon. The human team watched eagerly from their control center, monitoring every movement. The engineers had programmed a series of simulated alien drones to engage Titan in mock combat. The drones were fast, agile, and armed with advanced weaponry, designed to test the machine's response times and combat strategies. They buzzed into the air, their small forms darting in erratic patterns, attempting to overwhelm the machine with speed and numbers. But Titan's AI was already ahead of them. Without hesitation, Titan raised its massive arm, and in a fluid motion, it unleashed a burst of energy from its shoulder-mounted plasma cannon, vaporizing one of the drones in a blinding flash. The remaining drones swerved and split apart, trying to encircle Titan from all angles. "Impressive," Dr. Albright muttered, watching the data streams. "The AI is predicting their movements before they make them." Titan's movements were now rapid and precise. It swiveled its head, tracking each drone's position in the sky. Its weapons, ranging from high-powered energy beams to kinetic shock projectiles, were deployed with calculated efficiency, targeting the drones one by one. Within minutes, half of the drones were destroyed, their smoking remains falling to the ground. But then, one drone launched a countermeasure, a high-speed missile aimed directly at Titan's chest. The missile was faster than any human could react to, but Titan's AI was already processing it. In a split second, it calculated the missile's trajectory, and Titan pivoted, launching a countermeasure of its own. A net of ionized energy that ensnared the missile mid-flight, causing it to detonate harmlessly in the air. The trial was going flawlessly, but Holt's eyes narrowed. She knew this was just the beginning. They weren't testing Titan's power, they were testing its intelligence and adaptability. "Bring in the final test," she said. A series of unmanned aerial vehicles, UAVs, were released from a nearby hangar. Unlike the drones, these were equipped with electromagnetic pulse, EMP devices designed to disable electronic systems. The idea was simple. If Titan could survive a direct EMP strike, it would prove that the machine was resilient and would not be easily crippled by alien technology. It would be humanity's answer to any galactic threat that sought to disable their defenses. As the UAVs closed in, Titan's systems began to overload with data. The EMPs fired in rapid succession, their shockwaves rippling through the air. But Titan was prepared. Its shielding flared to life, creating a protective bubble around its core. The EMPs hit, but the energy field held. Titan's systems flickered, but they remained intact. Titan stood firm. The drones had been defeated, the EMPs absorbed without a single malfunction. The control room erupted into applause. Holt let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. The trial had been a success, not just for Titan, but for humanity itself. This was no longer just a machine. It was the embodiment of human resilience and ingenuity. But as Holt surveyed the scene, a realization settled in her mind. This was only the first step. The true test would come when humanity had to face the full might of the Galactic Council. Titan had passed the test, but the war was only just beginning. As Titan powered down and its systems went offline, Holt's voice was filled with steely determination. Now we prepare for what comes next. The Council won't be as forgiving as these drones. The calm that followed Titan's successful trial was short-lived. President Rebecca Holt knew that their victory in the desert had only been a small battle in a much larger war. The Galactic Council had already shown their hand. They would not tolerate humanity's defiance. The trial had made one thing clear. Earth was no longer a defenseless, primitive planet, and that meant the Council would come for them with everything they had. 2 weeks after Titan's trial, Earth received the first official message from the Galactic Council. It was an encrypted transmission from Saldar, the ruthless High Commander of the Tauran species. The message was simple. Earth's refusal to comply had not gone unnoticed. The Council had sent a fleet, one that dwarfed anything humanity had ever seen, to Earth's solar system. "We gave you a chance to stand down," Zaldar's voice echoed in the transmission. "Now you will face the consequences. Your machine is impressive, but it will not save you. We will end this before it escalates further. Prepare yourselves for the reckoning." The transmission ended abruptly, and Holt's heart sank. The Council wasn't coming to negotiate. They were coming to destroy Earth's defenses before humanity had a chance to rally. The clock was ticking. In the war room, Holt gathered her top advisors, military leaders, and scientists. They were preparing for what was undoubtedly Earth's most dangerous moment. Titan had proven itself in a controlled environment, but now they were facing an entire armada of advanced alien warships, led by the most fearsome warriors in the galaxy. "We don't have the luxury of waiting for them to make the first move," General Marcus Hayes, the head of Earth's defense forces, said, his brow furrowed in concern. "Zaldar's fleet is already en route. We need to strike first." "I agree," Holt replied, pacing back and forth. "But we need to be smart. We've only got one Titan, and we don't know what the Council's fleet is capable of. We can't risk a full-scale battle unless we're sure we can win." Dr. Xavier Albright spoke up from his station, analyzing data on the Galactic Fleet's approach. "We've managed to intercept some of their communications. The fleet consists of at least 12 capital ships, with smaller warships and drones for support. Their firepower is overwhelming, but Titan's adaptive AI might give us an edge if we play our cards right." "Titan's going to have to take on more than we expected," General Hayes said, studying the schematics. "If we can distract their fleet long enough, we might be able to even the odds." The room fell silent as the weight of the decision hung in the air. Holt knew that Earth's forces were vastly outmatched, but the strength of humanity had always been in its ability to adapt and fight with unyielding determination. Titan, with its AI-driven adaptability, would have to lead the charge. But they needed more than just a machine. They needed to rally humanity. "We can't rely on Titan alone," Holt said, her voice resolute. "This is going to require every country, every person to fight. The entire planet must stand united. It's not just about saving Earth. It's about showing the galaxy that humanity will not be cowed." As Holt's speech ended, the global communication system sent a signal to every nation on Earth. A united front was the only chance for survival, and the message was clear. Every human being on the planet had to contribute. Whether it was preparing for battle, working to fortify the defense networks, or offering resources to the war effort, Humanity had to come together. The first signs of the Council's fleet were spotted on Earth's radar 2 days later, arriving at the edge of the solar system. A chill ran through every person on the planet as the alien ships entered their view. Massive, sleek, and menacing, the ships dwarfed anything humanity had built. They were unlike anything seen in Earth's history, cruel, efficient, and deadly. But there was something else in the air now. Something that hadn't been there before. A sense of unity. People across Earth stood together, preparing not just to defend their home, but to show the galaxy that humanity was no longer a species to be overlooked. As Titan was powered up and prepared for battle, Holt's voice rang out over every communication channel. Earth has been given a choice. Submit or fight. We choose to fight. Our survival depends on our strength, our will, and our unity. This is our fight, and we will not lose it. In that moment, every human, whether civilian or soldier, knew what was at stake. The Council had underestimated humanity's resolve. And now, Earth was ready to show the galaxy that they had more than just a machine on their side. They had an entire planet willing to stand and fight. The war was about to begin, and humanity would no longer be a spectator. The tension on Earth was palpable as the alien fleet entered the solar system. Every radar station, every monitoring system, was locked onto the approaching ships. The sky was darkened by their sheer size, casting shadows across the planet as they hovered above the outer atmosphere. The Galactic Council had arrived, their fleet now visible to all of Earth, and with it, the certainty that the fight for survival was about to begin. President Rebecca Holt stood on the observation deck of Earth's primary command center, her hands gripping the railing as she looked out at the unfolding events. The entire world had held its breath, but now there was no turning back. The alien armada was vast, its warships gleaming ominously as they prepared to enter Earth's orbit. They were here to end humanity's defiance. But Holt wasn't backing down. Earth's forces had mobilized, and Titan, humanity's most advanced war machine, was ready to make its mark on the battlefield. Titan was stationed in a concealed location outside Earth's atmosphere, waiting for its cue. Its AI systems were poised to learn from the first moments of contact and evolve in real time to counter the Council's tactics. But the machine alone wouldn't win the war. Earth's unity would. "Prepare all units," General Marcus Hayes barked, his voice steady but filled with urgency. "We can't wait for them to make the first strike. We're hitting them as soon as we can get a lock." In the operations room below, the world's combined forces, military leaders, engineers, and strategists, worked frantically to deploy Earth's defense systems. A massive planetary shield had been activated, designed to provide an initial defense against the incoming assault. Every missile silo, every orbital defense platform, and every fighter jet was being readied to defend humanity's home. Earth wasn't just fighting for survival. They were fighting for their place in the galaxy. As Holt observed the countdown, she received an urgent message from Dr. Xavier Albright. "President Holt, Titan is in position. It's ready to deploy, but we need to be careful. The alien fleet is overwhelming. They may outnumber us, but we can use their arrogance against them." The plan was simple yet incredibly risky. Titan would engage the enemy directly, drawing fire from the larger fleet and allowing Earth's forces to strike from unexpected angles. It was the only chance they had to create a breach in the alien lines and force the Council to reconsider their approach. "Launch Titan," Holt ordered, her voice a calm beacon of determination. Now, Titan's massive form leaped from its station and shot toward the alien fleet, cutting through the atmosphere with speed and precision. The machine's size and power were overwhelming as it made its way toward the incoming armada, ready to strike at the heart of the enemy. Its sensors, once calibrated on the battlefield, now predicted every possible movement and response from the Council's forces. Titan was humanity's new weapon, and it would be humanity's last hope. The first shot came as expected, a barrage of plasma cannons from the Council's flagship, the Aetheris. Titan's shields flared bright blue, absorbing the impact with remarkable efficiency. Titan's AI calculated the trajectory of the enemy shots, adapting in real time to minimize damage. Targeting their engines, Albright's voice came through the comm. Titan is focusing on the flagship. We can't let them escape. With a roar, Titan unleashed a devastating volley of its own, hitting the Atheris with pinpoint accuracy. The alien warship shuddered under the impact, but it remained intact, a testament to the Council's advanced technology. Yet it was clear that Titan's power had made an immediate impact. The enemy fleet's confidence was wavering. As the battle raged on, Earth's forces began to coordinate their attacks, taking advantage of the distractions caused by Titan's relentless assault. Fighter jets swarmed the smaller alien ships, while Earth's orbital defense platforms fired precise strikes at the incoming alien drones. For the first time in history, the scales of power between humanity and the galaxy's most advanced civilizations were being tipped in humanity's favor. The alien fleet wasn't used to this level of resistance. They had expected a quick victory, a swift crushing of Earth's defenses. But Titan, combined with the resolve of Earth's people, was proving to be more than they had bargained for. Holt watched as the battle unfolded from the command center, her heart pounding in her chest. The fight was far from over, but for the first time since the Council had made their threat, she felt a glimmer of hope. Earth was holding its ground. Titan was more than just a machine. It was the symbol of humanity's unyielding determination. The alien fleet had underestimated humanity. And now, the Council would see that Earth was not a world to be conquered. It was a world that would fight back. This is just the beginning, Holt muttered to herself, eyes fixed on the war unfolding before her. We will show them what we're made of. The battle for Earth had only just begun, but humanity had already proven that they would never go down without a fight. The battle in space raged on as Earth's forces clashed with the overwhelming might of the Galactic Council's fleet. Titan had become the focal point of the conflict, its immense form cutting through the darkened skies, drawing the attention of every enemy warship. The AI-driven machine adapted to each new assault, countering blows with devastating precision. But even Titan's unmatched firepower couldn't guarantee victory against such a massive technologically advanced force. In orbit above Earth, the alien flagship Atheris loomed large, surrounded by smaller dreadnoughts and support vessels. The initial shock of humanity's resistance had shaken the Council, but their strategy was evolving. The Council's ships were regrouping, their battle tactics becoming more coordinated, more brutal. Titan's shields are holding, but barely. Dr. Xavier Albright's voice crackled over the comms. We've detected a concentrated EMP burst coming from the Atheris. If it hits, Titan will go down. Holt's heart sank. They couldn't afford to lose Titan. It was the symbol of humanity's resistance, the cornerstone of their defense. If it fell, morale would plummet, and Earth's forces would be scattered. We can't let that happen, Holt said, her voice steady but urgent. General Hayes, I want you to deploy our backup fleet. The Vanguard has been retrofitted with EMP-resistant shields. Right. Yes, ma'am, General Hayes replied, his voice sharp with command. We've got a fleet of 5 ships waiting for your signal. They're equipped with anti-EMP technology, but we'll need to get in close to the Atheris to make it count. Then do it, Holt ordered. If Titan goes down, we need to hit them hard and fast. The Atheris is their command center. We take it down, we disrupt their entire fleet. The backup fleet, the Vanguard, was humanity's trump card. 5 ships, each packed with advanced weaponry and reinforced shields, ready to charge directly at the heart of the Council's flagship. Holt watched as the ships launched from their station, cutting through space like arrows, their trajectory aimed straight for the Atheris. Meanwhile, Titan was locked in a fierce battle with the alien warships. Despite the constant bombardment from the Council's fleet, Titan's AI had adapted to every attack, predicting the enemy's next move and countering with ruthless efficiency. The ground shook with each of Titan's shots, and the explosion sent ripples of light through the void of space. But even Titan's remarkable power couldn't avoid every hit. The machine's energy reserves were dwindling, and its systems were beginning to show signs of strain. "That EMP burst is coming in," Albright warned again. "We need to buy Titan more time." Just as the Atheris prepared to unleash the pulse, a surprise wave of missiles from the Vanguard fleet rocketed toward the flagship. The missiles exploded in a brilliant array of lights, their shockwaves disrupting the coordination of the Atheris weapons. The EMP burst was delayed. "That's our window," General Hayes shouted. "Titan, focus all firepower on the flagship's engines now." Titan's massive form turned toward the Atheris, its weapons charging for the final assault. The massive plasma cannons on its shoulders fired in a single powerful burst, striking the flagship directly in its engine section. The Atheris groaned as the hull buckled and shuddered, sparks flying from the damaged sections. The alien flagship's shield flickered, but Titan's relentless barrage found its mark. The Atheris lost propulsion, drifting slowly as its core systems began to fail. A cheer broke out in the operations room as the screens displayed the devastating damage. "It's working," Albright said, astonished. "Their flagship is crippled." But the battle was far from over. As the Atheris began to lose its power, the remaining alien ships moved into defensive positions, protecting their weakened flagship with an impenetrable wall of firepower. Earth's forces, though bolstered by the Vanguard and Titan's presence, were still vastly outnumbered. "Titan can't hold out much longer," Holt said, her voice grim. She had never imagined they would be pushed this far. "We can't let up," General Hayes said, determination in his voice. "If we break their formation, we can force them to retreat. Titan's got them on the ropes, but we need to push now." Holt nodded. The battle was shifting, but it was still precarious. "Send everything we got," she said. "This is our chance to turn the tide. We end this now." With the Atheris crippled, the focus of the battle began to change. Earth's forces rallied, pouring fire into the remaining ships. The backup fleet, with its EMP-resistant technology, closed in on the remaining enemy vessels, blasting apart shields and rendering their weapons useless. Titan, though battered and low on power, continued its relentless assault, carving through the Council's forces with unstoppable might. One by one, the alien ships began to fall, retreating or being destroyed by the sheer force of Earth's counterattack. The Galactic Council had underestimated humanity, and now their greatest fleet was faltering. "We've got them on the run," General Hayes said, a grin spreading across his face. "They're retreating." Holt took a deep breath, watching the last few ships of the enemy fleet disengage and begin their retreat toward the edges of the solar system. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since the Council's arrival, Earth had a victory. "We've done it," Holt said quietly. "The tide has turned, but this is only the beginning." Earth had fought back, and for the first time, the Council knew that humanity was not to be underestimated. The atmosphere was electric as Earth's forces watched the last remnants of the Galactic Council's fleet retreat into the depths of space. For the first time in history, humanity had faced down a vastly superior alien power and emerged victorious. Titan's AI had evolved faster than anyone could have imagined, and the combined strength of Earth's military and civilian forces had shattered the Council's assumption that they could crush humanity with ease. President Rebecca Holt stood in the command center, watching the screens flash with the news of the Council's retreat. The planet seemed to hold its collective breath, but there was no time to celebrate. The victory, though significant, came at a cost, and the war was far from over. "We've pushed them back," General Marcus Hayes said, his voice tinged with awe. "But they'll regroup. The Council won't take this lying down." Holt nodded, her mind already moving ahead. The retreat was tactical, not a surrender. "They'll send reinforcements. We need to fortify Earth's defenses and prepare for the next wave. This is only the beginning." Despite the jubilation, Holt knew the cost of the battle had been steep. Titan, despite its remarkable performance, was severely damaged. Its energy systems were running low, and its AI was showing signs of strain from the constant battle. The backup fleet, the Vanguard, had been crucial, but several ships were heavily damaged and would require extensive repairs. Earth's military forces had fought valiantly, but many lives had been lost, and countless ships were now debris floating in space. "This victory doesn't come without a price," Holt continued. "We've taken a significant hit, and we must prepare for the worst. Our enemies are not going to let us have a second win like this without consequences." Dr. Xavier Albright's voice crackled through the comms, filled with concern. "Titan's AI is malfunctioning, President Holt. We're seeing data corruption in its neural pathways, likely from the strain of the battle. The machine's going to need an overhaul before it can engage again." Holt's heart sank at the news. Titan had been humanity's greatest asset, but even it had limits. It had given everything in the battle, and now it needed time to repair. Earth couldn't afford to lose the war machine now. "Can we fix it in time?" Holt asked, the pressure mounting on her shoulders. "How long until it's combat ready again?" "We're looking at weeks, maybe more," Albright responded. "The AI's learning core will need to be rebooted, and we'll have to install new power cells. The systems are too strained for a quick fix." Holt turned her attention back to the battle data flashing across the screen. The retreating Council fleet was still visible, slowly drifting toward the outskirts of the solar system. Earth's victory had dealt a blow, but it had not ended the war. The Council would only grow angrier, more determined to crush humanity. "We can't afford to wait for Titan to be fully operational," Holt said, her mind racing. "We need to hit them while they're weak. They may be retreating now, but they'll return with greater force. We must act immediately." General Hayes nodded, his face grim. "I'll assemble the fleet. We can't let them regroup. We have to hit their supply lines, disrupt their reinforcements, and show them that we're not backing down." Holt looked around the room at the weary faces of her staff. They had won a battle, but the war was still very much alive. Humanity had no choice but to push forward, to seize the momentum while they had it. There could be no rest. "We'll launch a strike against their supply lines," Holt decided. "We'll hit them hard and fast. General, coordinate with our fleets and make sure we have full intel on their position. We strike before they can regroup." As the orders were issued and the preparations began, Holt took a moment to look out the window. The stars outside seemed peaceful, almost indifferent to the turmoil unfolding within their reach. Earth had made its stand, but now it was clear victory had only bought them a temporary reprieve. The Council's retreat had been unexpected, but it would not be the last time they came for humanity. The fight for Earth's survival had only just begun. Titan might have been their greatest weapon, but it was humanity's unrelenting will to survive that would win the war. The coming days would be pivotal. Holt knew the stakes were higher than ever. The war had only shifted into its next phase, and this time, Earth would not wait to be struck. The galaxy would soon learn that humanity was not so easily subdued. "We may have won today," Holt muttered to herself, "but the real fight is still ahead of us." The world held its breath, knowing that the path ahead would be filled with even greater challenges. But Earth had proven one undeniable truth to the galaxy. Humanity would not go down without a fight, and this time they were prepared to take the war to the stars. Days passed in a blur of intense preparation. Earth's forces had gone on high alert, readying themselves for the next phase of the war. Titan, though severely damaged, had been partially repaired, its AI partially restored. But it wasn't enough. The machine wasn't ready for a full-on assault, and humanity couldn't afford to wait for it to be perfect. General Marcus Hayes and the fleet commanders, though battered from their initial victory, were already formulating the next steps to cripple the Galactic Council once and for all. President Rebecca Holt stood at the center of the strategy room, the weight of their next decision pressing heavily on her shoulders. Earth had a narrow window of opportunity before the Council could regroup and send reinforcements. The damage they had dealt to the Aetheris and the rest of the enemy fleet had bought them some time, but it wouldn't last long. "We hit their supply lines now," General Hayes said, his voice grave. "We can sever their reinforcements, starve their fleet of supplies. We've got one shot to do this right. If we fail, Earth will be exposed and vulnerable." Holt nodded, feeling the pressure build within her. This would be their final chance to turn the tide. If they could disrupt the Council's reinforcements, it might give Earth the breathing room it needed to fortify its defenses and rebuild Titan to full capacity. But if they failed, the consequences would be catastrophic. "Do we have full intel on their supply routes?" Holt asked. "We've cracked their communications, ma'am," Dr. Xavier Albright replied, his voice steady despite the tension. "We've pinpointed 3 critical supply hubs scattered across the galaxy. If we strike quickly and hard, we can cut them off before they can send backup." "And the Aetheris?" Holt pressed. "Their flagship is crippled, but the Council will have a new flagship by now. We can't afford to face their fleet again head-on." Albright glanced at the tactical screens, calculating. "The Aetheris won't be operational for weeks. Their reinforcements will rely on smaller warships, but even those are formidable. Our best bet is to hit their supply lines before they can get anything substantial out here." Holt turned to General Hayes. "Send the fleet. We'll strike their supply hubs at once." The plan was risky, an all-out assault on enemy supply lines, with minimal preparation time. The Earth fleet would have to travel to uncharted regions of space, slip past the remnants of the Council's forces, and strike fast before the Council could mount a defense. The fate of humanity rested on this mission. A fleet of Earth's most advanced warships, bolstered by the Vanguard and a small group of elite pilots, was assembled for the mission. Titan, though not at full strength, would provide a backup role, offering support as they traversed the dangerous terrain. Holt's eyes scanned the faces of her staff, determined, grim, yet resolute. Every person in this room understood that this might be their last chance to end the war on their terms. The fleet launched in the dead of night, disappearing into the vast expanse of space. The first supply hub was located near the edge of the galaxy, hidden deep within asteroid fields. Earth's fleet navigated the treacherous terrain with precision, avoiding alien scouts and defensive outposts. It wasn't long before they made their presence known, hitting the supply hub with a series of precision strikes. The explosions lit up the void, sending debris and crippled warships spiraling into the cold expanse. "They're already responding," General Hayes reported. "The Council's backup fleet is en route. We've got less than 15 minutes before they arrive." "Stay on target," Holt ordered, her voice firm. "Finish the job. We can't let them escape." The battle was swift but fierce. Earth's fleet hit the supply hub with overwhelming firepower, destroying ammunition caches, fuel reserves, and communication centers. Titan provided cover fire, its weapons system finding new targets, each more lethal than the last. The destruction was thorough, complete. The Council would have no way to resupply that hub anytime soon. But as expected, reinforcements arrived. A small but formidable fleet of alien warships materialized from the shadows, their plasma cannons crackling with deadly intent. The fight shifted quickly from a targeted strike to a full-fledged battle. "We've overstayed our welcome," General Hayes said. "Time to go." Earth's fleet began to withdraw, leaving behind a shattered and burning supply hub. The Council's fleet gave chase, but Earth had one more trick up its sleeve. Titan, still carrying the scars of battle, unleashed its final assault, a devastating wave of missiles and plasma blasts aimed at the approaching enemy ships. "Target their engines." Titan's AI murmured through the comms, its voice cold and precise. The alien ships faltered, their propulsion systems failing under the sheer power of the attack. The Vanguard followed up with a final barrage, disabling their weapons and rendering the enemy fleet immobile. As Earth's fleet made its retreat, the crippled Council ships drifted, helpless and broken. "We've done it," Hayes said, his voice filled with relief. The supply lines are cut. We've stalled their reinforcements. Holt let out a breath she hadn't realized she was holding. For now, Earth had won. They had dealt a serious blow to the Council's war effort. But Holt knew it wasn't over. The Council would return. And when they did, they would be even more relentless. "This is just the beginning," Holt said quietly. "We've shown them that we can strike back. But now we must build on this. Prepare for what's next." The war was far from won, but for the first time, Earth had taken the fight to the Council in a way that sent a message across the galaxy. Humanity was no longer a species to be ignored, and they were ready for whatever came next.